It's 2023, you're feeling pumped to create, ready to progress, to be the best you. You want to keep improving and get yourself one step closer to achieving your dreams. So this is a good time to ask yourself, who do I want to be in the year to come? How can I be the best version of myself? And how can I make real concrete decisions on how to get there? All of your habits make up your day, from the moment you wake up to when you go to bed. It's really great to set goals, but I realize that at the core of it all is being aware and setting creative habits. It's always a good time to reflect and get ready for the new year. And if we already know what we have to do, sometimes we just need a gentle reminder. Let's be real. Being an artist requires courage. It requires work, self-discipline, and most importantly, an open mind. So, assuming that you relate to either of those, in today's episode, I want to give you guys 7 creative habits for the new year that will 1. Help you improve, 2. Help you progress, and 3. Set you on the right track in 2023. The time is now, my friends. I'm Jess Karp. I'm a full-time artist. I've studied in art school, got my illustration and fine arts degree. I've had the pleasure to work with all ages in hopes to help improve their art skills and help them progress. I'm grateful to be able to create so many years for a living, take on all sorts of projects and challenges, but I'm also just another person on my journey, on my path, just like you are, trying to improve little by little as the days go by, which is why I share my work here on YouTube, so you know that you're not alone. As things progress in life and in career, I realized that it wouldn't have happened without the information that I'm about to share with you. Psst, grab a notebook because the way I like to do things, let's just say I like to do things a bit more interactively. You'll see why. Eugene Delacroix from the Romantic era said, "The artist who aims at perfection in everything achieves it in nothing." Perfection. We all have been there, and it's that very concept that prevents you from starting in the first place at times. One way to overcome this is to practice patience. Give yourself that extra time to plan a piece. Maybe get in the habit of focusing more on your thumbnails to flesh out the idea. The creative process is all about trial and error, and the start of it may really be the most difficult part. Fall in love with making mistakes and practice patience instead. The sooner you realize that it's in the long run, I'm gonna tell you that you're bound to mess up, you're bound to make the wrong mark, spill your paint water, mix the wrong color, it's gonna happen. But it's what'll make you flourish though, because mistakes bring victory. And the sooner we learn to practice patience and the sooner that we accept that, we are practicing getting rid of that instant gratification. Lift and get rid of your idea of perfection, because creating the perfect drawing or creating something in one sitting is not really ideal. You may be someone who tends to scroll a lot on social media, and as soon as you come across artists or other individuals, you can immediately get discouraged. And then you'll give yourself talks like, "I'll never get there," or "I wish I can draw like that." Well, I'm here to tell you that you can. Yep, that's right, you can, but it will require you to accept to be patient. And I'm sure you've seen this saying somewhere. So the sooner you begin to practice the habit of patience and making mistakes, enjoying to make mistakes, the faster you will lift off that burden. So here's a quick minor adjustment you can make in your mind. Flip the intimidation into inspiration. In fact, seeing other artists do their thing should give you hope, should give you thoughts like, "Oh, wow, this is possible. If they can do this, I can do this too." Just understand that it takes time, it's all part of the process, and that's why we call it a journey. Think of it this way. Michelangelo was sculpting the David from 1501 to 1504. It took him 3 whole years to create this giant sculpture. Leonardo begins painting the Mona Lisa, and it takes him about 4 years to finish it. For 4 years. On average, a Hollywood studio movie, depending on the process, from the beginning of development to post-production, can take from 4 to 5 years to produce. And that does not include learning the craft. If you go to the gym, you can't just show up and lift 200 pounds. You start off with 5, or you start off with no weight whatsoever to get your muscles used to it and to build up to that level. Patience is key. Be patient with yourself because it's truly at the core of it all. Just show up. Show up to your page. Show up to your sketchbook. Wherever you create, just show up and begin. Whether you're showing up to your journal to write, your sketchbook to draw, maybe you want to get in the habit of drawing on bigger sheets of paper, or maybe you want to make more time to go sketch outside. Decide what that will be for you, and once you have, make a small plan to get there. A few months ago, I read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he says, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformation. He speaks about getting 1% better every day, and then over a longer period of time, it adds up to a significantly higher percentage. This really resonated with me and stuck with me because I feel like this is a holy grail tip. Just showing up is half the battle. But Jess, I don't know what to draw. I don't know where to start. But you do know. Odds are you have that one thing that you love to doodle. You have a friend or a family member you can text and say, "Hey Bob, give me the first word that comes to mind." Draw that. Whatever they text back, draw that. I also have a free sketchbook prompt download that you can get off my website. But the overall idea here for this creative habit is less scrolling, more sketching. Creativity and artistry is a hands-on activity. You will only improve by being hands-on with it. So I recommend you start little by little. Consistency is what we're looking for here. I've personally built consistency by keeping a sketchbook since 2014, but as the years go by, I try and get better and better to show up to the page and make time to draw, sketch, write, whatever it is. It's another way for me to journal, to reflect, and I've created this safe, sacred space for myself to have fun, to show up to as an artist and just begin. There really is no right or wrong here, it's just how you like to do it. Also, don't overwhelm yourself with all of these supplies. Sometimes all you need is a pen and paper, and that's it. We all have that creative intuition. All we have to do is just listen closely to it. Once you make time to show up to the page, this will create a repetition. Depending on the time of day that you want to create and show up to your page, you're going to crave to do it the next time. And it's going to build up this pattern and this self-discipline to where you're not going to be able to live without it. For anyone who hasn't done it in a while, you know that when you pick it back up, you feel so alive and happy. So just make a little more time to do it. And a matter of fact, let's do this together. I'm gonna set a timer for 30 seconds and we're all gonna show up to the page together right now. I told you I like to make things interactive, so grab that pen and paper and let's do it. And there you have it. You've committed to show up to the page. That's all it took. What is something that you have not tried yet? Is it digital art, sculpture, printmaking, animation? Maybe you want to illustrate a movie poster, or perhaps start a YouTube channel, maybe sell your art online, or maybe you simply have never used the color purple. Make a drawing with a purple pencil. Draw a squirrel if you've never drawn one before. Get in the habit of trying something new. I promise you it entails revelation. Van Gogh asks, what would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? I returned back from New York City and I did a guest talk to the students over at the school where I used to be a student, which was so cool. And I had everyone do an exercise. I actually want to ask you guys questions. So I just threw a question out there and I said, "That I love. What is your favorite thing to draw?" So then in that very moment, I had everyone draw that one thing that they really enjoy and love to draw. And then I asked someone to shout out something they've never drawn before. And one student yells out, "Mosquito!" And everyone laughed. But my face remained completely serious. And they all looked at me like, is she about to make us draw a mosquito? So in that very moment, I had everyone draw a mosquito from their imagination. This was an exercise to really train something new. Once everyone was finished, all I heard was, "Wow, I didn't know I can draw a mosquito," or "let me draw something funny next to it." So that's when the creative juices began flowing and it led to one little doodle to the next. Each one was beautiful and unique in their own way. The confidence was immediately boosted, and more importantly, everyone was smiling and laughing. From one thing that seems so simple and a little challenge of drawing something that you've never drawn before to giving yourself confidence and realizing that you can actually do it. This already set out a positive change, so you can apply this concept to whatever new adventure that you'd like to take on. So remember that we're getting interactive here, so now I invite you to write down something completely new that you want to try this year. To throw some ideas at you, this can be something as small as trying a new subject, maybe a new color, maybe simply putting yourself out there and begin posting on social media. Maybe you aspire to showcase your art in a gallery. call those galleries. Or maybe before you call the galleries, you want to create a website. This way you have a place to showcase your art or sell your art online. But where can I do that, Jess? I gotcha. I personally built my website with Squarespace, and they're also our kind sponsors. So let me show you how quick and easy it is to start. Since this is an all-in-one platform, they have templates for you which you can just drag and drop images into. Before I built my website, I tried out a few templates to see which one I enjoyed the most. And once you drag and drop, it's there beautifully displayed, super professional, seamless, and mobile friendly, which I love. If you don't have a website, I personally think that having an online presence is super crucial because this is the place where people come and find you, read more about you, and just get to know you better. And in my case, sometimes it's a place where you guys can go get free stuff. If you're sharing your website with illustration clients or someone you simply meet, Squarespace is a great way to start. So you can just start your free trial by going to squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, I have a discount code for you. Go to squarespace.com/JessCarp for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The beauty about beginning something completely new to you is that you remain curious. A different part of your brain begins to work and you show yourself that you are able to figure it out. You then build the confidence to prove to yourself that you can really do it. But of course, before then, you have to really want to. This year, I want to make more time for bigger projects like you guys requested. My first art book. So whatever it is that you choose to do this year, you most likely will not know how to do it, but when you're in that uncomfortable zone, that is where you experience the most growth. I really didn't know how to do anything on YouTube. I didn't know how to work a camera. I didn't really know how to edit at all, but I took my own classes. I did my own research. I created routines and schedules for myself to keep learning and taking myself 1% better every day. And I still do that. I highly believe in training all your muscles and trying out all these different things because each skill adds to the other. And I personally have a lot of fun. I love being curious. I love finding out all these new things and trying new things. Keep a curious mindset and it'll take you a long way. Speaking of a curious mindset, curiosity will also allow you and welcome you to build your creative library. Now, what do I mean by that? Look for something new to learn every day, little or big. A creative library can essentially be books, podcasts, paintings, videos, music that sparks your creativity, movies that you see, creative conversations with others, photos, maybe references. Anything that sparks your creative juices, just tap into that, think about what that is for you, and slowly begin to get in the habit of gathering all these little puzzle pieces together like a little art detective. I highly encourage getting in the habit of taking your own references, printing them out, letting them inspire your own artwork. Swatching out your paint, adding that to your creative library is also great. Visit museums, gain new experiences. Feed your brain with new information. This way you can use a combination of all of these into your own ideas. And getting in that habit of building your creative library allows you to refer back to your collection over time. This is an active habit that I partake in also because it allows you to open your mind to other possibilities, other forms of art, spark new ideas, and most importantly, build your taste in things. So begin building your creative library and figuring out what you really like, and be honest with yourself because that is what makes you you. But I'd also like to note, even if you don't per se like something more than something else, still be open to it because you never know, down the line, 3 years later, you're gonna love it. You evolve and your taste in things evolves as well. So here are a few places where you can start building your creative library and gather things. Pinterest is a huge one. You can create different boards, you can label them, you can set them to be public or private just for yourself. Maybe you have a notebook where you write down your favorite artists. Maybe the way you study is to actually physically take notes and collage your creative library. Maybe you like to create mood boards. Perhaps your creative library is a physical one sitting on your shelf. This way you can physically open books, flip through them, have a little cup of coffee or tea with it. Make a little ritual for yourself. That's a habit of its own. There are so many resources out there. You just have to remain open and focus a bit of time to find which ones are important for you. Creatives, unite! Who do you associate with? Studies show that the people you surround yourself with, you're more likely to be influenced by them. The fastest way to get to where you want to be is putting yourself in environments with people who are already there. reach out to other artists, reach out to art friends, to creatives, to people who share like-minded interests as you. Try to make friends with them, maybe schedule little phone calls where you can sketch together. I just discovered these new figure drawing classes in my area and they've just opened up. They're like little pop-ups, so I'll be going there as one of my creative habits for this year. It's really an incredible feeling to be surrounded and conversate with like-minded, passionate people.
Oh my gosh, I look hilarious.
I started this new series over on my Instagram called Thursday Thoughts, which I might do here on YouTube as well. And I basically share a quote or an idea from a mastermind every Thursday. Last week's quote was, "Seek those that fan your flames." Seek those that set off that passion within you. Look for those that encourage you, that uplift you. I'll be the first to encourage and uplift you today. But where else can I find these people, Jess? Where can I look? You can look for local art events, drawing sessions in your area. There are many Discord communities online, free ones for you to take part of. One that I like is called Warrior Painters. There are always events and discussions on there. I also started a safe and creative space for any of you guys who are interested over on Patreon. We all chat together on Discord, share each other's artwork, give assignments, so it's a really fun and safe place to meet new people. We all make friends with one another. All about just spreading the love here. Community, one, lets us know that we're not alone, even though as an artist it may feel like it sometimes. Two, it pushes us to get better, it inspires us. And three, sometimes having a simple art conversation just pushes you to keep going, learning from one another, having critiques. It also builds up skills like learning how to talk about your work eloquently. All of that, as a community, is extremely beneficial. Now, there is a concept of showing up to the page and drawing a lot and building up those creative habits. But I also like to do this. After every live demo with my patrons, I encourage everyone to look at their work from afar, look at the bigger picture, look at what they just created, and give yourself credit. Give yourself one positive comment about your work. I also recommend giving yourself one element of what you can do better next time. Not what looks bad or what mistakes you made, but what can you do better next time? There is a difference. So what does this do? Well, when you get into the creative habit of being aware of your work and being able to notice things about your work, you set your mind into a perspective shift. And the next time that you sit down to draw, subconsciously, that positive comment and that element that you noticed, maybe it's one little thing about your work, will show up in your head, and then you can apply it to get better in the next one. But because you acknowledge the good, the successful sections, for example, this can look like, wow, I really nailed the proportions this time. Or, I'm really glad that I tried this color palette. Maybe I can apply it to another drawing or another painting next time. Now, don't get me wrong, it's really great to be aware of your mistakes, but that's why I like to do both, because giving yourself credit for even showing up or completing something in the first place gets you excited to keep going. And that's what we want this year. We want to keep that consistent progress, and we want to improve to be the best version of ourselves that we could be. I had a professor who I heard once say in school, if you want to learn how to draw something, if you really want to get better, get a separate notebook, get a separate sketchbook, and draw something 100 times. Look at your hand, draw it 100 times in all these different angles. Drawing is a lifelong journey. Ever since I completed my 100 heads, eyes, I took on a big alphabet series recently, which was the previous video. I challenged myself and pushed myself to make uplifting, positive concepts and also write something to accompany the illustration. And also I pushed myself in my videography, my cinematography, something that I'm relatively new to. What I want to note here is it's good to push yourself and know your limits, but just be aware of where you are in your art journey. Starting off small and building your way up to more complex pieces, more complex challenges is the way to go. I'm all about setting your ambitions high because I promise that you are capable of more than you know. So I asked a few friends and artists, all different types of artists, to answer 2 questions. What is one creative habit that you implement that has helped you? And what is one creative habit that you wish to implement more this year in 2023? Let's take a look at what they said, shall we?
Hi Jess, happy 2023. Let's see, the best creative habit I've implemented would probably be my morning sketchbook routine. So before I jump on my phone onto social media or email or anything like that, I make a cup of coffee and I set my timer for 10 minutes and I just do something in my sketchbook. And that's especially important when I have a lot of different projects going on, when I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions. It helps me stay kind of centered and grounded. The sketchbook I use in the morning is my own sacred space. It's kind of like a visual diary. So I don't share that one with the internet, with the world. And that kind of leads me into what I want to start implementing this year, and that would be journaling. I've never done journaling consistently, and I've heard so many good things about it, so I'm determined to give it a go. I think I'll start with a 30-day challenge for myself and do it at the end of the day, kind of as a way to unwind and just get back in touch with myself. So here's hoping for a very creative and productive new year. Bye, Jess.
Hey, I'm Slow. The creative habit I implement on a day-to-day basis in my life is sort of the multitude of interests that I pursue. It helps me stay interested in a lot of different things, fine arts disciplines, drawing, painting, watercolor, charcoal, but also the other creative disciplines like videography, photography, the language of lighting. That way I never get bored. And in 2023, I actually really want to start focusing on finished works. A lot of my fine art practice is based on studies and small sketches and pieces of work. And in 2023, I want to render and complete larger scale pieces of artwork.
Last year, my creative habit was to take weekly painting classes. This year, I want to build a daily sketchbook practice, because as creators, we're so often focused on an end result that we forget to enjoy the process. For me, especially being a full-time illustrator, I noticed it's so important to have at least 30 minutes a day just playing in my sketchbook and surprise myself with what happens on the page.
Hi. Hi, my name's Sunny Nobody. I'm an artist from Seattle. Let me set this up on this little thing. Okay, so number one question. I think ideas for me are the hardest, and I do something where I have a notes app in my phone, and anytime I have an idea, even if it's 3 a.m. and I'm dead tired, I will force myself to write it down. And then even though 99% of them are trash ideas, when I have a hard time coming up with something like what my next project's gonna be, I can look through that long list, and even if one individual idea is not good, I can sort of combine 3 or 4 into something, and it just is a nice way of staying on top of what I consider to be the most difficult part of the creative process, which is the first 5%. And for question number 2, something that I'm going to try to implement in my creative process in this coming year, I'm going to try to think a little bit harder before I commit to an idea, because I think it's better to do a poor job executing on a really good idea than it is doing excellent execution on a kind of bad idea. So I'm going to spend more time thinking about brainstorming and trying to get that first 10% of the project really dialed in before moving on to the last 90%, I think. But that's what I'm doing. I hope that helps.
Hi Jess, hi everyone. So a creative habit that I started a few months ago is going to an art class once a week. It really helps me to go back to some basics. Also a fun bit of me time once a week. A habit that I started in 2023 and I really hope to continue is practicing thumbnail sketches, because I would like to get better in composition for painting landscapes. It's a goal for me this year.
Hey, I'm Baron Roth. I'm a photographer based out of New York City from Miami. One creative habit that I employ is bringing my camera everywhere. I'll take any camera I have and just feel naked without it, frankly. I find myself regretting the times that I don't have it more than I do regretting the times I do bring it. Ultimately, I find that the shots are worth it and you're getting your 10,000 hours in. One creative habit I do want to employ more is posting more, sharing my work more, and caring less about what people think about my work. I have this tendency to really want to raise the bar every single time I show off my work. I should just be sharing it for myself, just being proud of what I put out there and do it more. So I hope I can do that.
A habit I've been trying to implement for a while now is to just show up, grab a paintbrush or a pencil, and create without worrying about the outcome. I tell myself I'm doing it for the trash can, so there's no pressure when the bar is set so low. So with that mindset for 2023, my main habit I'm working on artistically is to complete all of Jess's monthly motivation assignments over on her Patreon. They're challenging but open-ended enough for all levels of artists, and I know they're going to finally help me find my own unique artistic voice.
Hey Jess, thanks so much for thinking of having me for this video. You and I have been creating since the first day of freshman year of high school, so super awesome that we were able to see each other grow as artists and share our creative habits with each other, so I'm happy to share mine with you. My favorite creative habit is always being able to draw, always having drawing supplies on me, having multiple size sketchbooks. One of the ways I do this is by always having my crossbody sling bag on me. A bunch of pens and pencils in here, ballpoint pens. I've also got a little sketchbook so that I can sketch wherever I am, whether it's on the subway or in line at the grocery store. I can always observe my surroundings. This is a drawing I did on a napkin. You don't need a whole bag to bring with you all the time. Sometimes it's just as easy as bringing a pen or a pencil with you in your pocket, and you can sketch with the materials that are in your surroundings.
My creative habit that I like to practice is actually practicing other forms of art other than my main squeeze. You know, like action figure photography, filmmaking, poetry, or writing stories, or just going out and dancing. I feel like it still scratches that creative itch while still feeding into my main work and supplementing my creativity with other hobbies that can fuel the fire without me feeling burnt out or getting stuck. I really like jotting notes down in my notes app on my phone because it's pretty much always on me. It's a brain dump, figure out what to do with it later. One creative habit I wish to implement this year, I'd love to dive into more storytelling and narrative structural writing. So I really want to take some time to create a morning habit where I'm actually writing stories and practicing the act of writing instead of just going with the flow. You have an action and before you know it, you have a ton of ideas ready to go for something awesome. And all we gotta do is make it happen. Let's have a great 2023. Thanks, Jess.
To all the amazing artists that submitted a video, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having your voice in this video and being a part of it. Now it's your turn to answer. What is a creative habit that you want to implement more this year in 2023? Whether it's big or teeny tiny, feel free to drop it below in the comment section or simply write it down for yourself. But do write it down because as soon as you do, the universe is listening. I hope you liked this video. I hope you subscribe. Big thanks to my patrons. If you really don't know where to begin, you need that little extra push. I have assignments going out every month. This month we're doing a skull anatomy study and I have a live demo about that. It's up there. We're in this together. You can and will be the best version of yourself this year. And I'm really excited for the amazing things to come in 2023. I hope these inspire you to implement in your own practice. If you're ready to start right now, here's a video up top where you can start with simple drawing warm-ups, super pressure free, and it's great for all levels. Let's make this year a great one. Go get 'em!